Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Mazel Tov again to Jillian and the whole Kugelman family. You've done such an unbelievable job today. We're all so proud of you. Thank you for giving Rabbi Alex and me this past month of sacred time with our new daughter, Noah. I can't wait for you all to meet her. We met her on April 3rd at 1:54 a.m., which was simultaneously the most real experience of our lives and something utterly science fiction. Not just because she looked like an alien. She did, but the cute kind that comes in peace. It was science fiction because when you hold your baby in your arms for the first time and you stare into their face, suddenly you've discovered time travel. And you go in both directions. The past, as the generational histories of two families converge into a single human being. We were very blessed to have Noah's grandparents, an aunt, and one of her great-grandparents in the maternity ward with us, and more of our family has flown in to meet her this weekend. So I get to welcome my family to B'nai Ashurin, my other family. But just as we imagine all of our ancestors congregating underneath the chuppah, the wedding canopy, to accompany the couple, or onto the bima with the bat mitzvah girl as she chants her Torah, we also sense the presence of departed loved ones surrounding and pulsing through a newborn. And just as quickly as we're inundated by the past, we're catapulted into the future. Thoughts start flooding in. Which one of us is Noah going to look like when she's older? Wouldn't it be great if she got Alex's face and Alex's command of poetry and my love of Alex? My brother, Daniel, just had his medical school graduation where he walked the stage with my mother, who's also a doctor like her father and grandfather before her. So our daughter Noah is going to be a rabbi and a doctor and president of the United States. And that's the moment you realize it's time to get off the time machine, or at least set it for the present, because the past is full of bittersweet longing, and the future is clouded with parental hopes, fears, and expectations that obscure our ability to see our children for who they actually are. In the present moment is Kodesh Kodeshim, the Holy of Holies, the inner sanctum of our ancient temple where God's presence was most acutely felt. That's what we feel every time we hold her. This early time is so special and so rare, and when we blink, it'll be gone, which is one of the reasons we haven't shut our eyes in 6 weeks. Jillian, I'm sure that's how your parents, Rachel and Matthew, feel today. Sunrise, sunset, all of a sudden, your baby is a Jewish adult who just taught us so insightfully and so poignantly about Kedoshim, this week's Torah portion. The same word in Kodesh Kodeshim, meaning holy, like a birth, like a bat mitzvah, like Shabbat. It's all sacred time. One of the laws that we haven't discussed yet, though, is called Orla, which concerns the planting of new trees. We read that when you enter the land and plant any tree for food, Va'araltem orlato et prio shalosh shanim yihye lachem arelim lo ye'achel. You shall regard its fruit as forbidden. 3 years it shall be forbidden for you, not to be eaten. When we plant a new fruit tree, we might immediately start anticipating its utility. When's it going to bear fruit? When's it going to be productive? Instead of appreciating new life as a miraculous process that's unfolding before our very eyes. So God says that for the first 3 years, we're not allowed to think that way. The fruit of a new tree is forbidden to us. All we're permitted to do is watch it grow and try to understand the miracle of new life. In the 4th year, Yihye kol prio kodesh hilulim la'Adonai. That fruit is holy. There's that word kadosh again. Set aside for jubilation before God. It's supposed to be brought to Jerusalem, that fruit, in the 4th year. It's only in the 5th year that we can actually benefit from the fruit ourselves. Our commentators actually map Orla, laws regarding new trees, on to the first 5 years of raising a child. The Or HaChaim, the 18th century Moroccan commentator, explains that parents naturally want to start teaching children Torah right away, just like we're eager to enjoy the fruit of new trees right away. But we shouldn't do that, because when we start fantasizing about the great Torah scholars they'll become, the rabbi, the doctor, the president of both the United States and the alien planet from which she came. So instead, our tradition teaches us that the first 3 years is sacred time set apart for appreciation, for watching them grow, not to produce, but to simply be. This should start to sound eerily familiar now. Fruit, which represents knowledge, God telling us not to eat that fruit. It's a Garden of Eden do-over. The 13th century Spanish commentator Ramban says that God commands the Israelites not to eat the fruit of new trees for the first 3 years as a way of redeeming ourselves for Adam and Eve's sin in the garden. Ramban says Adam and Eve couldn't wait 1 moment, and yet their descendants will teach them how to wait 3 years. Judaism so deeply emphasizes the obligation of parents to teach their children, but isn't it beautiful that it also recognizes the ways in which children teach their parents, even before they're 3 years old? The Torah of babies teaches us that this whole time is money thing, which is a sad reality for so many of us grown-ups. It's a mistake. Time isn't money. Time is sacred. The Torah of babies teaches us awe and wonder for the world around us, which should be experienced anew every morning. The Torah of babies teaches us to hold our loved ones close and scream if they ever try to put us down, even for 1 second so I can eat a sandwich or take a shower. It's at 4 years that the fruit becomes Kodesh Hilulim Ladonai, holy, set apart for jubilation before God. The Or HaChaim says that parents start teaching their children, start introducing them to Torah in their 4th year, when they can start to recite basic prayers like Modeh Ani and the Shema by themselves. I have to admit that Rabbi Alex and I are struggling with this because we can't wait for the 4th year to that. We wake her up every morning with Modeh Ani because we want her to know and we want God to know how grateful we are that she's here. But it's when children reach 5 years old, says Pirkei Avot, the ethics of our ancestors, that children are finally ready to engage in proper Torah study. At 5, they're ready to hold the written Torah in their hands, and their parents are permitted to enjoy the fruit of that learning. Orla and Shabbat are both laws we find in this week's Torah portion, which makes perfect sense if you think about it. God is inviting us into the appreciation of sacred time. When we plant fruit trees, when and if we have children, just watch them grow first. That's our job as parents. Which might be why the very first thing that God does after God creates God's children, humanity, Adam and Eve on the 6th day, is rest, Shabbat, sacred time just to watch them and observe this new life and say that it's Tov Me'od, very good. It's only later that God actually kicks them out of the house and says, get a job. But first, Shabbat. Our only job now is to recognize the sanctity of time and the Tov Me'od, how very good new life is. Shabbat Shalom.